This is Jessica Davis from MSPmentor, and I'm here today with Chris Schin, Director of Products at Zeta.net. And we wanted to ask Chris today about some of the MSP trends that he's seeing in the BDR space. Can you tell us something about those cloud BDR trends, Chris?
Sure. So thank you, Jessica. BDR is, of course, backup and disaster recovery. And I think there are really two main trends that we're seeing penetrate our MSP partners and really their customers. And the first is an emphasis on using cloud for off-siting the data for data protection. And that's largely based on what we're seeing in an explosion of bandwidth in places like Kansas City and Austin and Chattanooga, Tennessee, which have up to a gigabit internet to even the smallest businesses, which really makes the cloud a viable alternative for off-siting. And the second is we're seeing a broadening of backup toolkits, where 5 years ago it was mostly file backup and then application and database backup, and today even full server image backup and virtualization style backups and things like that. We're just seeing a broadening in the toolkits available to MSPs to service their customers.
Okay, and can you tell me what are some of the key considerations of server image backups?
Sure, for capturing full server images. Well, there's really two sort of vectors of things I think you should think about. The first is, why would you want to do server image backup? What are the advantages of backing up a full server? And the first is you obviously you can't miss anything. You get the entire disk image. So anything that's on that you have backed up. And so there's a certain simplicity and completeness to grabbing the entire server image. The second is that you can restore the entire server image back to a consistent state. If you lose the entire server, you've got the full disk image and you can recover the whole thing. But at the same time, in some of the more advanced solutions, you can also go into the disk image backup and pull out single files or single database instances to do restore. So the first is the advantages to doing full server image backup. And the second has to do with physical and virtual images. Very few MSP customers are entirely virtualized, but similarly, very few are entirely physical server-based today. So you want to make sure that the solutions you look at can accommodate your needs, and you don't wind up having to get multiple different solutions, some for the virtual world, some for the physical world, in order to get the entire environment backed up.
Right, makes sense. And so what is Zeta doing for full server image restores?
So first of all, we're backing up Windows server images regardless of their platform. If they're on a virtual environment, any type of virtual environment, or a physical environment, we're grabbing the entire disk image as a holistic unit. And we're storing it in a standard Windows format called VHD or VHDX. This is a quantum leap from the old days of bare metal restore, which was usually a heavyweight, process-intensive, proprietary process to try to get a full server image backup restored onto a physical machine. Using the standard Windows recovery technologies, you can browse into the image to grab individual files out of your backup. You can boot the image into a virtual farm and just get it up and running in a Hyper-V or VMDK environment very easily. Or you can use standard Windows recovery technologies to restore the full image back onto a piece of physical hardware, a replacement piece of physical hardware, to put back in your data center to get you back up and running. So we're trying to be very flexible on the backup side of the image for both physical and virtual, and also be very flexible on the restore side, single file restore, virtual restore, as well as physical restore.
Sounds good. Well, thanks for the information, Chris, and thanks for joining us today.
Thank you, Jessica.